Hi, my name is Anastasia with the Summer Abroad office, and today I'm joined by Rebecca, who participated in two of our summer abroad programs, Spain in 2017 and Portugal in 2019. Thank you for joining me, Rebecca.
Thank you for having me, Anastasia. I'm really excited to talk about my experience and hopefully share something interesting.
So let's just get started by you telling us what you're studying at U of T and how the summer abroad courses fit into that.
Great. So I am at the very end of my studies at U of T doing a double major in economics and human geography and a minor in Spanish. So the reason I decided to do that program in Spain was SPA 255, the Introduction to the Hispanic Culture, was because I thought it would be a nice way to immerse myself into the language and culture of Spain, given that I'd only learned the basics at U of T by that point.
Thinking back to it, what were some highlights from that time abroad?
In terms of personal growth and experiences for myself, was it gave me the opportunity to be independent. Um, it was my first time traveling alone, both like for the actual program because I didn't really have many friends going in. I met them all at the orientation, and also I did some traveling after the program completely on my own to different parts of, I think it was just Spain in Barcelona. So that was really fun. But in terms of the program itself, I would say all of the field trips were very fun. To name a few, we took a weekend trip to Cordoba and Granada. Um, we also did a trip to the cathedral in Seville. But for the actual course, since it was learning about culture, Professor Natalia Kuste, she actually did a lot of day trips for the class. So instead of being in the classroom learning about culture and taking notes and all that kind of stuff, we actually went out into the city and experienced it. And I think that is what made it such a great, unique opportunity.
Obviously, you must have had a good time on the first summer abroad program for you to decide that you were going to do another one 2 years later. What was behind that decision to do another program and what made Portugal that choice?
I would say the opportunity to travel, first and foremost. I can't not explain what the first summer abroad program did for me in terms of traveling because it's so astonishing, like looking at where I am today compared to where I was 5, 6 years ago. So before doing the Spain program in 2017, I was a first year. Um, I actually didn't have much interest in traveling. Like my idea of vacation was a beach somewhere, chilling, having a drink and eating, not exploring, not doing any of that. That just sounded like more work. So it was only until I went to Spain that I realized that this is something I actually really enjoy doing, and I never thought I would. So traveling throughout Europe was one thing I got from the first program that made me want to do the second program. But obviously, there were so many to choose from. I could have done Italy, I could have done France, but the reason I chose Portugal was I see it somewhat similar to Spanish culture, which I really enjoyed. So it was mainly the course itself. I figured I know a bit of Spanish. I would love to learn another language, so I did the Portuguese 100 course. Um, yeah, and I just thought it was another fun way to make friends.
I think it's interesting because you said you picked Portugal because it was a bit similar to Spain, but I'm sure you found this once you actually did the program. The structures of the programs themselves are very different. What are some kind of pros that you found to the more independent Portugal experience?
In Portugal, there were some trips, but they were all optional, and it was up to you to decide which ones you wanted to do and pick and choose what suits your interests. And then if none of them suit your interests, you just plan something else that you want to do. I took a weekend trip to the Azores Islands, another weekend trip to Sintra, different part of Portugal. So I think that's really fun. If you know what you like and what you're looking for in your travel, it's a great opportunity. And I think I didn't know that the program was structured that way, but I'm glad that it was my second time around because I already learned from the first time what it is I like and what I'm not so interested in.
What are some things that you wish you could have done differently on your summer abroad experience that you think would have just given you more value from it?
I would say um, it mostly relates to what I was talking about in Portugal, where you have that opportunity to pick and choose what you want to do and what you don't want to do. Find things that you do want to do. Just because some of the trips might not be up your alley, don't think of that as, okay, well, I'm going to do nothing. It's a fantastic city, and I'm sure all the other summer abroad programs are as well. There's so much to do in all these places, and you're there for a month or so. Really make the most of it. I feel like that's something that I didn't fully do the second time around because it was less structured. Um, I still had a ton of fun. I met a ton of people, but I'm sure there was a lot more of the city that I could have explored, and I didn't do that.
You've touched a lot on kind of the personal benefits of summer abroad. Do you have any experiences of things you gained either academically or professionally from your time on the summer abroad program?
Um, a bit of both. Academically, I'd like to believe I did really well in the courses, because not because they were super easy or not because I tried super, super, super hard, but because the environment is conducive to the learning, I feel. Like in Spain, it was you're learning culture and you're in the city studying culture. In Portugal, I was learning Portuguese and I was surrounded by Portuguese people to speak with. So, in terms of the academics, I think it's a great way to actually not only learn what you're there to learn, but like acquire it, as opposed to in some classes, especially coming from an economics background, you take a course and then the next year you just completely forgot everything you had already learned. I could still regurgitate things that I learned in my 2017 Spain course. Um, that being said, in terms of professional work, I took the year off to go work in Spain to improve my Spanish because I'm a Spanish minor. Um, and I was not too far from Seville. And I think that the Spain course gave me, like I was talking about before, the independence and being able to be on my own, because that was completely on my own. I found a place by myself, I found a job by myself. It was a lot. So not only that, but having learned the culture and understanding what people there are like really helped me to integrate well into the society. Whereas I think without that prior knowledge of how the city itself worked, the culture of Spain in general, um, I think I would have struggled a lot.
That's a really amazing experience you got to have in Spain, beyond summer abroad, actually being able to work there. Most of our summer abroad programs, you go with a group of U of T students, it's a U of T prof, but Portugal, being one of the language courses, is a different setup than that. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so I think in that sense, it was almost completely different from my course in Spain, which was actually really exciting. It gave me the opportunity to meet people from all over the world. So, starting with the residents, in that residence, there were people from, I know there were some local Portuguese students, but also some Italian students. I believe there was also a girl from Spain. So, it was a really fun opportunity to meet people from all over in the residence, but then also in the classes it was the same thing where it wasn't just a U of T class, it was a local professor who was teaching Portuguese, and everyone in the class was from, you know, wherever it is they came from. There was Americans in my class, an Italian lady, some people from Sweden, Ukraine. They just came from everywhere, and it was really exciting to meet those people. And we all got very close, at least in my class. I can't speak for everyone else, but in my class, we were a very tight knit group, and we got to, really get to know each other on a personal basis. So I really loved that course in terms of meeting new people.
So, thank you for taking the time to chat about your different experiences and good luck finishing up your summer courses. Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks for having me. As you could tell, I love talking about this. I could talk about this for hours. So thanks for having me and letting me share parts of my experience.